Violence and video games go together like peanut butter and chocolate. It's not that one needs the other to exist, but when the two do get together, we can all accept that it's just a bit of delicious fun. Ever since Mario sends an innocent escaped ape plummeting to its death, video game characters have displayed varying levels of violence. With characters like Sonic, Link, and Ryu, we have fighters who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty, but it tends to be pretty cartoony and fairly tame. As video games have evolved over the years, we've been introduced to characters who are more capable of much more visceral and truly nasty violence. Let's take a look at some examples of the most brutal, blood-soaked characters in gaming now, because intense violence is absolutely brilliant when it's in video games. Remember that, kids. Before we continue, do make sure to subscribe to Unilad Gaming on YouTube for lots more top 5s, reviews, previews, and more. Please also hit the bell for notifications, or I'll come around and rip your arms off before beating you to death with them. I didn't mean that, it was just in the spirit of this video. Let's move on. Number 5. Trevor Phillips. While the majority of GTA characters tend to be seriously violent killers, real body counts tend to come when the player is fully in control and free roaming the land, gunning down any unfortunate digital citizens that get in the way, simply because they can. I'm not knocking it, that cathartic experience is one of the great joys of the franchise, but free of player control, most GTA protagonists do have some kind of code. Trevor is different. In the GTA 5 story, Trevor is very much the embodiment of all the violent and unpredictable impulses of a standard GTA player, and that makes him terrifying. Within minutes of being introduced to him properly, he smashes poor old Johnny Klebitz around the head with a bottle before stomping his noggin in. For good measure, he then flies into a rage and lays waste to an entire camp of bikers. Clearly, getting on Trevor's bad side is not the best idea. Number 4. Marcus Fenix. When Microsoft unleashed Gears of War onto the world as an Xbox 360 exclusive, it came with a pretty clear message. If you want to play golf with your gran, go pick up a Nintendo Wii. If you want to curb stomp, gun down, and chainsaw falls in a shower of scarlet glory, you want the latest Xbox. Marcus Fenix is a good man at his core, but he regards the evil locust hordes with the same level of contempt I tend to reserve for people who talk about how the gap year mummy and daddy funded changed their life. I mean, really, Chad, I'm sure your 3 months spent with the locals on Mamanuca Island were life-changing, but they probably thought you sucked. Anyway, Fenix spends most of his time chainsawing his enemies in half, using them as meat shields, and even occasionally using their severed heads for a spot of golf practice. What a man. Number 3. Doom Guy. Doom Guy is the kind of absolute unit who'd pick you back up if you fell over in a circle pit, but would 100% be the guy who put you there in the first place after windmilling you into a next week. He's metal as basically. You can bleed. The Space Marine hero of the Doom franchise has no nuanced, subtle backstory or any real motive to speak of. He just shows up every now and again to rip and tear his way through the hordes of hell to some fire soundtracks. We've seen him utilize a number of hilariously over-the-top guns to blow demons apart, but he's a real artist when it comes to using his hands. He can rip off limbs, snap necks, smash heads in, stuff grenades into mouths, yank out vital organs, and go on some incredibly violent chainsaw sprees. If you're a demon, odds are you check under the bed at night for Doom Guy. Number 2. Shao Kahn. Question: who in the Mortal Kombat universe can smush your head into nothing with a giant hammer, heartily laugh about it, and then smash the rest of you into oblivion? Answer: Shao bloody Kahn. Kahn is one of the most iconic video game bad guys and an absolute beast in Mortal Kombat, who uses his signature hammer to grind foes down into a sticky paste and occasionally play a quick round of golf with their heads, presumably with Marcus Fenix. Every now and again, just for fun, he'll tear opponents clean in two with his bare hands. He's nothing if not innovative. Truly, Shao Kahn is to video game violence what the Beatles are to pop music. Number 1. Kratos. Before Kratos was a single dad struggling with his violent past and what it means to leave a legacy his son could be proud of, he was an unapologetically murderous machine who greeted violence like you or I might greet an old friend, or a cold beer at the end of a long week. Kratos didn't just murder an entire pantheon of gods, he absolutely tore them apart. In the original trilogy, Kratos snaps necks, tears off limbs, cuts off heads, and eventually beats his own dad into a bloody stain on the floor in a spectacular first-person shower of blood. That's not to say he isn't capable of some intense violence in the most recent game, he just feels kind of bad about doing it with his kid watching. That was our top 5 most violent characters in video games. Is there anyone we missed? Drop your suggestions in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to Unilad Gaming right here on YouTube for more.